Doc Ellis, July 12th, 2023. Ask Doc Ellis questions on ellisclinic.com. Andrade. Discharge of the United States Marine Corps. Now, that means you're crazy, and that's a compliment. I've never had a Marine or 101st Airborne or their wife say that they weren't crazy. Okay, anyway, knee pain, running PT. Medic said it was not service-connected. They can't find medical records. That's great, but no records are the best records. You come in, you tell me you're a Marine Corps, that's all the information I need. Obviously, your knees, your hips, your backs, your feet are covered. VA, and federal workers' comp, if we're talking about it, but in VA, if military stuff contributes the slightest amount, it's 100% covered. Federal, slightest amount is covered. So, come on in and let's do it. Okay, now here's Robert. A YouTube question. Was approved, got paid for OWCP, that's federal workers' comp, exposure to COVID in various conditions. I was harassed by the OWC nurse, case manager, adjuster. Never heard of that happening. Go to ellisclinic.com. There's a whole bunch of, I've got some handouts for harassing my supervisors. To go back to work, been out since November. Fatigue and lung damage prevents me. You probably also have brain damage. If you have COVID and you lose the sense of smell, that's cranial nerve 1, and taste is another cranial. This nerve comes right out of the brain. That's a brain damage, okay? It's not just that part, there's other parts. It's not brain fog, it's not long COVID. You have brain damage, just like you had meningitis, okay? So there may be that's going on. Benefits, get to a doctor that knows how to do this. There are only a handful of us. And we'll get it all taken care of. Okay, and if they don't do it, and it depends on your claims examiner, who you'll never get to know, you never get to talk to, only needs a high school education, has no training, then eventually we do an oral hearing and it's going to take care of it in a few minutes. The law's very fair, you just have to get it up to where someone will listen, because all I require the government to do is obey their own rules. Okay, and that's why you always win, because you never quit, and the rules are very fair. How do I add pain legs to the COVID? Well, if it's caused by COVID, we get it covered. I was depressed and rated the VA for depression. Well, I'll bet COVID made you depressed too. You can double dip. Okay? In other words, you could have a high school football knee surgery, and then you're in the Marines, you have a knee surgery, and then you go to the work government and have a knee strain. You rate the whole knee. Both ways. Okay. Offset my VA and OWCP federal, you get to double dip. Keep it. They don't have to pay you back. Frederick, 4 years honorable discharge, boxer in the Army. Okay, let's assume you've got brain damage. Okay, there's no such thing as a minor concussion. Okay, attacked and punched the head in the face. My hand was broken and tinnitus. Okay, because you got that, of course. Put in a claim for PTSD and more mood disorder. Always should struggle to maintain my composure. Ear noise causes me to isolate myself, cry alone. I'm 69. Now, if you get tinnitus, just a little bit of ringing ears, that's 10%. It's like $143 a month. File for it, folks. Because then if you die of any kind of cardiovascular disease like heart attack or stroke, I can give the widow a pension. Because tinnitus contributes to hypertension and strokes and stuff. It also contributes to sleep apnea. That's 50%. Okay. Now, PTSD is different than depression. It's a different thing. So if you come in and you have asthma, and I give you the wrong dose of IV adrenaline, instead of 1 to 10,000 and 1 to 1,000, you'll remember that day the rest of your life. It's a chemical surge. Okay, and that's different than different parts of the brain that makes you depressed. And be careful, the VA likes to take PTSD and depression and mix them together. No, you get a PTSD rating and you get a depression rating. And you can also have anxiety rating. It's a different part of the brain. All right? If your doctor understands that, and there's case law for it and medical for that, okay. So you just need to have somebody write some magic words. The trouble is, this thing I'm wearing, this white coat, 50% of litigation requires a doctor's opinion. We are not trained in this. All we learned in medical school about legal medicine was malpractice convention, and that lawyers don't go to heaven, which is still the truth. Okay, here's a Bowdy. Medical records, military medical records. I complained about an injury during active duty. That's a lot of records. just the complaint. That's gold. So if you have no records, it doesn't matter. Okay, slight straightness, cervical spine, shin splints, lumbar strain. So that's all going to be covered. Now, I mean, just from the records. Then you have to have a doctor to take it up and provide the legal medical expertise and nexus report causation information so it can be accepted. Just because it's in the records doesn't get it. Filed for lumbar in 2003, denied back claim. Never heard anybody get denied in the VA. Well, because you didn't have a nexus report. You've got to have a causation report, but somebody knows what they're doing. And don't go out and spend $5,000. Okay, we charge you $500 for a back. And if you have two legs bothering you from nerves, but it's not extra. And I have neck. Okay, there's no such thing as a cervical spine. There's a spine. When you're 16-year-olds and you're having headaches, you can rub your low back. It helps your headache. Okay? It's all one unit. Now I have neck, bilateral hand, ulnar nerve. That's from your elbows, carpal tunnel. Yeah. Okay. Because shin splint, the knee, tendon, sleep apnea. That's 50%, and that adds all kinds of side crap. And mental issues, yeah. I believe they stem from the active duty. Well, even if they're just a little bit aggravated, they're covered. Also in federal, in military, if during 20 years of service something happens, you get rheumatoid arthritis, it's covered because it happened during the service. Not caused, just happened during the service. Or let's say you have rheumatic fever, heart murmur, and they don't pick it up on the physical, and then they find it later, rheumatic fever is covered. Very few loss. Hearing loss is 0, and that's probably true. Tinnitus is at 10. Now, hearing loss, don't spend money with us. Just go back to VA and have it reevaluated. They'll do an audiogram, but here's the trick. I've had people with hearing aids. You have to yell to talk to them. They've obviously got severe hearing loss, but the VA rates it at 0. And the American Medical Association Guides Evaluation Impairment would rate it at 30%. What happens at the VA, they have a CD-ROM called a Maryland CDC that has words they pronounce. And so they do understand that word, and they'll keep repeating it until you say, yes, I understand it. Or the audiologist will say it herself or himself. That's fraud. This is not an IQ test, because hearing loss is in the higher frequencies. So some women, some kids, some TV shows are harder to listen to than others. Okay? So it's not, can my mind put it together? Do I understand it? If you don't understand it the first time, that's the end of the questioning. Ma'am, I didn't understand the first time you said it. Do I need to call the OIG? Is this fraud? Are you using the Maryland CNC? I probably have to get some audiologist to get criminal charges against them to stop this kind of crap. Read the law, folks. Do it right. Okay. Sleep apnea and math is 50% for apnea. They're good. 10%, 10 is 60. Good. That's right. Migraines. That could be 10, 30, 50, 70. Depression. That's over and above that. Anxiety. Okay. You're not in no man's land. You just, no one knows what they're doing. Give us a call. We'll take care of it. Send your stuff in. We'll walk you through it. Okay. This is easy stuff. Okay, Panela. This looks like federal workers' comp. My claim, a doctor's office quit dealing with OWCP. I had a patient call the other day in the area where they live. If you're a doctor and you want to do federal workers' comp, you sign up as a provider. As long as you don't have a criminal record, you get a provider number. Went through, in the area, the OWCP website, and went through 19 people that had provider numbers. None of them take federal workers' comp. That is just common as it can be. So the claims examiner said, why are you going all the way to Oklahoma City to see some Hictor doctor? Because there's nobody in the rest of the country who knows how to will take these people. You're not alone. You're not paranoid. It's really true. Okay. My case is old. It's never old. It always can be reopened. It never closes. Now, it may close from, it's a case closed, but it's administratively closed. It's not adjudicated, so we can reopen it. It's old even, I need another surgery, so that's going to make it easier. We need it open for actual surgery. That's going to make it easier. Just then open it for a impairment rating, which you can do too. This is the one that did print out 19 pages of OWCP directors, and none would see me. That's okay. My representative told me to contact you. Well, thank you, whoever you are. I need a second opinion. No, you need a nexus report by your doctor, not a second opinion. Let me become your treating doctor, and I'll write all the reports to your treating doctor. Because the doctor you pick, by law, my medical opinion has greater probative or legal value than the second opinion or the government doctors. This is not a fair deal. Like in a car wreck, you're both equal. State workers' comp, you're both equal. In federal and VA, the vet and the federal employee and their doctor opinion has more than the government doctor, which is the federal government. No one knows that until you get to an oral hearing. Then it's 15 minutes, we got it done. ECAB, Federal Employee Compensation Appeal Board, all these judges are just as honest as they can be. They just call it by the law. There's no politics. Hearing officers are just awesome. They know the law, tell me the points, tell me the bullets, and they adjudicate it based on what they've got. But the trouble is, in federal workers' comp and VA, no one has words that are done to meet the standards. Like in VA, it's got to be more likely than not. What's that mean? In federal, it's got to be a medical rationale. What's that mean? Let me explain federal and VA. Let me explain reasonable medical certainty, reasonable medical probability, nexus reports. Okay. You need an expert witness, white coat, and then all the degrees I've got. I got 42 things on the wall now. Okay. 18 in medicine and the rest are in legal medicine. Okay. So, patient goes to a place that's endemic for hepatitis A. Doesn't have a hepatitis A shot. And 21 days later, someone said he's got yellow eyes. Don't even call it jaundice, just say yellow. What's your thought? Not a diagnosis, not an opinion, no testing done, just that history. Endemic, no shot, yellow eyes. Well, I think he's got hepatitis A. That's reasonable medical certainty. That's more than good enough for federal and criminal law and everything else, okay? And VA, all right. Then you get a CAT scan, and he's got a gallstone right here that can back up bile, which is the thing that turns the eyes yellow, from the liver into the bloodstream. Well, then I think he's got a gallstone causing the bile, the jaundice in his eyes. That's correct. Reasonable medical certainty. The lab test comes back, and you also have hepatitis A. So here's two. So each point in the history that you have is reasonable medical certainty. Okay? And it's, for instance, I had a case, big tire company, benzene exposure, leukemia that can come from benzene. The attorney for the tire company came in, had really good industrial health stuff, and very low benzene levels, but the plant's so big it's going to be dissipated anyway. He said, did you know he worked at this since age 14 in this little funeral home in this little town, and he's been doing all the bombing since age 14, and here's the basement, and here's the little windows that don't even open. Could all that exposure to formaldehyde contribute? Well, sure. I'll do a literature search. Now, this was interesting, an ethical issue. So I called the State Medical Association lawyer, because obviously this is the formaldehyde exposure, not the benzene exposure to the tire company, because the medical literature shows that. And so I've changed my opinion. Okay, wasn't that I was wrong? I've just got more information and have changed my opinion. Nothing wrong with that. Can I tell the insurance company attorney? No, because you were hired by the plaintiff attorney. If you were the treating doctor, you could. You can initiate the call. You can't initiate, but you can answer it if he asks you. And Gary, but the attorney's in state workers' comp. Everybody knows everybody. So I see him a month later. He said, did you ever do a literature search? Yes, I did. Should I do another exam? Yes, you should. And of course, we get it going to where it's supposed to go. But the deal is, things change. But based on my education, training, and experience, that's what I'm making my opinion on. Not this is state workers' comp. Company driver, company truck, wreck, broken neck, fused, neurosurgeon. Is this work related? Because the insurance company can't start making payments unless the white coat says it's work related. And he wrote back, the neurosurgeon, I don't know if it's work related. I didn't see the truck roll. And obviously it's work related. So the judge takes care of it. Okay, here we have David. Denied for sleep apnea and hypertension claim, secondary recurrent PTSD. Oh, I've got case law and medical literature for that. Those are all covered. Okay, so I don't care what the VA said. So you've got sleep apnea, so that's 50%. So it's 70% PTSD, 10% tinnitus, 10% sinus and allergic. Your sinusitis and allergic rhinitis is going to contribute to sleep apnea, and then your tinnitus too, so you're going to get that 50. And migraine headaches, 0%. Whoever wrote that down, I wish they'd have a migraine headache. Now, you rate migraine headaches to how frequently they are and how much they interfere with your activities of daily living. And you can rate them 10, 30, 50, 70. 0% erectile dysfunction. If you can't get it up, you've been accepted as 0, okay? So it's been an accepted claim, they're just rated as 0. You can't get it up, you're rated. All right. I need help. Well, we're going to do that. Next is DBQ. We can do DBQs, and we'll do them for $500. I wouldn't recommend it unless some rating person demands them. They're not required. They're elective. Now, they won't hurt. If you do a DBQ and your Nexus narrative report, you've got a better chance of winning. So it's it worth that extra $500? Maybe it is. Okay. But I just wanted you to know I don't want to take your money if you don't need to. If things are too low, you can always have things re-rated, yes. Here's something. Roberto, having a hard time adding to my DOL case, my neck pain, even though my doctor gave them an explanation of my injury to my neck, they still accepted injury my shoulders in 2020. You need magic words, and then you need the doctor to ask for an oral hearing. All right, and usually that will get the claim examiner off their butt. In fact, I've not done an oral hearing since last year, because now I just asked for it, and they said, oh, we take care of it, because I'm just telling the truth. It's a trick. Okay, so there you go. Keep sending the questions and answers, and bless you all.